going to reframe some of these guidelines to ensure that they're not misused by the younger generation.
Right, so the government there going on record, or at least sources now telling us that they are ready to relook at this, given that this could affect several young people in the country. Pallavi getting us that exclusive information. For now, shifting focus. Sources are now telling your channel that Home Minister Amit Shah raised the issue of attack on Hindus in Bangladesh while he met his counterpart this afternoon. Remember, Amit Shah did tweet that picture of his meeting with his counterpart, and we're given to understand that the attack on Hindus in Bangladesh is something that did come up. Arunima, my colleague, now joins me for more on this. Yes, Arunima.
So what we are told by officials is that during this meeting that happened between Indian Home Minister Amit Shah and his counterparts from Bangladesh, Home Minister of Bangladesh, Mr. Khan, during this meeting with Asaduzzaman Khan, Home Minister, spoke about various issues, including the recent spate of attacks that have happened against minorities in Bangladesh, essentially Hindus, and the way their temples have been attacked. This discussion was on the border situation as well. Representatives of border guarding forces were present. BSF DG was present in this meeting. Union Home Secretary was present along with other officials. In this meeting, Home Minister did raise this issue and expressed that India was concerned as far as these attacks that are happening on temples, on festivals like Durga Puja, etc., when temples are attacked and minorities are beaten up. It does raise a lot of concern here in India.
Right, Arunima, thank you so much for getting us that latest information. Shifting focus now to a controversy down south. Yesterday, the centre filed a review petition in the Supreme Court against the November 11th order of the release of 6 convicts in the 1990 Rajiv Gandhi assassination case. The Ministry of Home Affairs said that the order for the release of 4 convicted Sri Lankan nationals was passed without giving the union government an opportunity of being heard. They said that it is a sensitive matter and the assistance of the union government is of paramount importance because this matter could have huge repercussions on public order, peace and criminal justice system of the country. But the politics in Tamil Nadu continues because the DMK says that death sentence needs to be abolished. They go on to say that all convicts should be free, and the decision last week from the Supreme Court is in the right spirit because these convicts have spent over 30 years in jail already.
We have been saying right from the day one that these convicts should not be released, and that is what our stand was. Whether it is BJP or the central government, we were very, very clear because it will have international ramifications. That's what we have said in our affidavit also. But now the centre has filed an affidavit saying that a revision petition saying that the court should have consulted or heard what the central government says. Without hearing, the court has given this judgment, and also the court, I think it has, in a hasty thing, they have released 4 of the convicts who are not Indians, they are foreigners. And we have been saying this for a very long time, and that is the reason. Now, there is no other go that they have gone to detention centers.
DMK stand has been that no person should be put to death. In fact, 2014 manifesto of DMK had suggested that death penalty should be abolished, and 160 of the 190 odd United Nations member countries have abolished death sentence. The primary purpose of judiciary should be to reform a person, reduce recidivism, and not completely punish. It's about, as our late leader Kalania says, it's about changing the heart of the person and to reform them. That should be the main goal. So these people, including Nalini, have shown exemplary conduct in jail. They have become educated, they have written articles and so on and so forth. They have reformed themselves. So now there is no point why they should stay in prison beyond this.
The ADMK stand was very clear. When Porchitalavi Amma took the call, it was on humanitarian grounds. It was no way seeking exception against the law. After the death sentence were commuted to life and they were languishing in the prison close to 2 decades, that's where we pitched in. Our leader pitched in and say, on humanitarian grounds you have to take a call, and we are willing to invoke Article 161, wherein the centre has an objection towards it. So it's a long legal battle. Now the appeal filed by the centre will raise eyebrows, and definitely there will be billion questions. Why now? Why not earlier? It could be during the trial, or it could be even in the courts of the case they could have filed an appeal if they want to cite a case of national importance and sovereignty. So that question will rise and centre has to give a convincing answer for the same, post which our leader will take a call.
Hello and welcome to the special edition of Viewpoint, live to you from Mumbai tonight, where the politics of the son of the soil, Veer Savarkar, has been ignited again. And it started with Congress leader Rahul Gandhi, who was in the middle of his Bharat Jodo Yatra, flashing a letter in which he claimed that Savarkar was seen begging the British for mercy. Now, from the cellular jail in Andamans, it is a fact that Savarkar did write that letter not once but on multiple occasions, but the context of that letter may be missing. What he and fellow life-term inmates were undergoing in that prison, that context may be missing. That is what many right-oriented historians have contested. The BJP has lashed out at Rahul Gandhi. What is complicating matters is that now there seems to be a wedge driven between members of the Mahavikas Aghadi, between the Shiv Sena and the Congress, more so with Sanjay Raut, senior leader of the Shiv Sena, an ally of the Congress in the MVA, asking for nothing less than the Bharat Ratna for Veer Savarkar. So is it about history and a correct reading of history, or is it simply about histrionics and politics? But first, the story so far.
Savarkar politics has been reignited. Congress MP Rahul Gandhi, who is on a Bharat Jodo Yatra, made a controversial statement in Akola, attacking Vinayak Damodar Savarkar. He even showed a copy of Savarkar's letter seeking mercy from the Britishers.
ये सावरकर जी की चिट्ठी है जिसमें उन्होंने अंग्रेजों को लिखा है I beg to remain, sir, your most obedient servant. ये मैंने नहीं लिखा, ये सावरकर जी ने लिखा है.
Savarkar's family were quick to react on Rahul Gandhi's statement. His grandson has even threatened to file a police complaint against Rahul Gandhi.
इनको लगता है मैंने जो बोला वो इतिहास बन गया, इसी गलतफहमी से हुआ है. अभी हमने पुलिस स्टेशन में कंप्लेंट की है, तो इसकी तहकीकात करेंगे और पूरा इसका न्याय होगा और इनके ऊपर कार्रवाई होगी.
The BJP went all out against him. The Saffron Party staged a protest demanding an apology from the former Congress president. They also labelled Congress as an anti-Hindu, anti-India party.
वो देश का विरोधी है, हिंदू संस्कृति का वो विरोधी है, वो भारत का विरोधी है.
एक राजनीतिक पार्टी और
Rahul Gandhi's remarks on Savarkar come days after his allies in Maharashtra demanded the Bharat Ratna for him. The Uddhav Thackeray faction of Shiv Sena is now anticipating some cracks in the Maharashtra Vikas Aghadi.
भारत जोड़ो यात्रा चल रहा है, उनको अच्छे समर्थन मिल रहा है. महाराष्ट्र में सबसे ज्यादा समर्थन मिला, तो वीर सावरकर का मुद्दा लाने की जरूरत नहीं थी. उससे महाराष्ट्र विकास अघाड़ी में भी दरार पड़ सकती है, मैं आपको बता रहा हूं.
This is not the first time that Rahul Gandhi and the Congress have attacked Savarkar. The former Hindu Mahasabha president was at the centre of several Congress campaigns. But the question which we are asking today, is Savarkar politics a discussion on history or just histrionics?
So this has become deeply political. A short while ago, Aditya Thackeray also held a press conference. Ranjit Savarkar, the grandson of Veer Savarkar, has also taken on Rahul Gandhi, attacking him, saying this is deliberate insult of Savarkar in his land here in Maharashtra, where we're coming to you live from. But like I said, it's deeply political. JP Nadda, the BJP party president, has also reacted on this, saying that Rahul Gandhi does not have a sense of history and he always goes on this tirade against icons, or at least people who have been considered icons by large sections of Indian society. Let's listen in to what the BJP president had to say, and then we'll open this up to our guests.
कल का आपका बयान महापुरुष वीर सावरकर के बारे में, इतना हल्का बयान स्वतंत्रता सेनानी के खिलाफ, क्या सोच है? तो इसलिए ये तोड़ने निकले हैं, ये जोड़ने नहीं निकले हैं. और इनसे कुछ भी होगा तो टूटेगा ही टूटेगा, जुड़ना तो आता ही.
All right, let me go across to our guest now. Guru Prakash Paswan is BJP National Spokesperson. Mayur Jha of the Congress will be joining us as well. Uddhav Thackeray is Central Information Commissioner and also author of the book Veer Savarkar. Sanjay Gupta is a leader of the Shiv Sena. Let me start with Guru Prakash Paswan. The fact that Rahul Gandhi produced this letter, and of course other historians have also produced this letter written by Veer Savarkar, asking for apology, asking for mercy, so on and so forth. But politically, in Maharashtra, where his Bharat Jodo Yatra is going on, in the middle of that, to insult a son of the soil, somebody who was part of the freedom struggle, is that political naivete? Or is Rahul Gandhi trying to stroke some kind of a controversy by isolating and saying that, look, Savarkar, by extension the RSS, was supportive of the British, and we, the Indian National Congress, were the ones who fought the British?
Zaka, we have to understand a couple of things first. We already knew, the nation was already aware of the knowledge of Mr. Rahul Gandhi about the politics of India. But Mr. Rahul Gandhi has proved to be a bad student of history as well. I would like to remind Mr. Rahul Gandhi of the letter which was written by the former Prime Minister of India, Mrs. Indira Gandhi, a remarkable son of India. Former Prime Minister of India, Indira Gandhi, saying Savarkar was a remarkable son of India. Point number one. Point number two, Shahid Bhagat Singh, about the book of Savarkar that he wrote on 1857 struggle, he not only translated that book, but also distributed that book. Mahatma Gandhi on several occasions have interacted with Savarkar on his social reformer aspect. So either Shahid Bhagat Singh ji, Prime Minister Indira Gandhi and Mahatma Gandhi, all of them are wrong and Mr. Rahul Gandhi is right. I want to put across this question to Mr. Rahul Gandhi and his representative here today. The question is that there is no moral foundation to Mr. Rahul Gandhi now. Mr. Rahul Gandhi, before the starting of this yatra, have we forgotten Father George Punaiya? Father George Punaiya made such scathing comment about Bharat Mata. Yesterday only about that Rashtragan fiasco that happened under Mr. Rahul Gandhi. So Mr. Rahul Gandhi has got a lot of explanation to do. He has to say that he is right and Mahatma Gandhi, Indira Gandhi and Shahid Bhagat Singh were collectively wrong.
Let me ask Uddhav Thackeray, not just as Central Information Commissioner, but also the author of a book on Veer Savarkar. Rahul Gandhi is not the first person to flash this letter. Many numerous left historians have also flashed this letter saying that Veer Savarkar had actually begged the British for mercy. The point, though, is to do it in Maharashtra, and that too when the Congress party is allied with the Shiv Sena, the Uddhav Thackeray Shiv Sena, to say this in Maharashtra, insult a son of the soil, how does it make any political sense?
Zaka, I am not from political background, but I have been a former journalist. So I would like to speak a few words on this. I think it is suicidal to attack Savarkar in Maharashtra. And I mean, as a political analyst, which I was till I became the commissioner, I think he's virtually sitting on the obituary of Congress, you know. Because to attack Savarkar in Maharashtra in such a manner, it's almost a suicide. And plus it is falsification of history. You see, Savarkar's apology is being tossed by Congress and those you know, who survive on a divided India. You see, they are tossing it around for quite some time. But let us look at history. Veer Savarkar tendered 10 apologies to the British during his tenure in cellular jail in Andaman. Let us be very clear.
Yes.
It was part of his larger strategy to free himself from the jail and restart the struggle against the British. Now, let us look at Shivaji, from whom Savarkar drew inspiration. You see, Chhatrapati Shivaji tendered 5 apologies to Aurangzeb in his entire career. Out of these 5, 3 apologies were followed by a treaty between Shivaji and Mughals. And each and every treaty was broken by Shivaji, because it was part of his larger strategy to win the battle against Mughals. So Savarkar's apologies have to be seen in, and he has not hidden it. He has made a mention of it in his book, My Transportation for Life, and in his another book, From the Darkness of Andaman, he says that he tried to convince his fellow revolutionaries not to rot in the jail, but to come out of the jail and then restart the struggle against the British. But more than that, Zaka, give me one more minute. I want to put it straight, you know. His 1913 apology to the Governor General was followed by a letter. Just let me read this. Was followed by a letter by General Craddock. Home Member Craddock. And what does Craddock say? He writes to the British authorities in Andaman. He is the Home Member, and he is commenting on an apology letter, a mercy petition of Savarkar returned to the Governor General on 19th December 1913. What does he write? He says, I am reading it. Give me 1 minute. In case of Savarkar, it is quite impossible to give him any liberty here, and I think he would escape from any Indian jail. So important a leader is he that the European section of the Indian anarchists would plot for his escape, which would before long be organized. If he were allowed outside the cellular jail in the Andamans, his escape would be certain. His friends would easily charter a steamer to lie off one of the islands, and little money distributed locally would do the rest. So the people to whom Savarkar tendered apology, how they thought about it? I think there could be greater evidence, greater proof to prove that Savarkar's apology letters were a part of a larger strategy, Chanakya Niti or Shivaji Niti.
Strategy.
So this is complete falsification of history by
Let
Congress.
Let me ask Mayur Jha of the Congress
Rahul
Party.
Gandhi,
What I want to know, politically speaking, I think what Udayji also said makes absolute sense. Forget about, history for a moment. Leave alone the context in which Savarkar asked for these mercy petitions and so on, and whether it was part of a larger strategy. But to come to Maharashtra, where Savarkar is a revered figure, he's almost a deified figure, and to insult him by saying that he was a British apologist. I mean, is Rahul Gandhi being politically naive, or is he trying to, sow the seeds of division? Because that's what the BJP is also saying. This is not Bharat Jodo, then this is Bharat Thodo. Why would you insult a son of the soil when you're in his land? It makes no sense.
Zaka, first thing first, how many times did we debate Savarkar before 2014? BJP was in power between 1998 to 2004 also. The reason, Zaka, is that the original BJP did have a sense of understanding of history. The BJP that emerged from the Bharatiya Jan Sangh, the BJP of Vajpayee ji, the BJP of Advani ji, had a far better sense of history than the current lot of BJP, which mostly consumes its history through WhatsApp forwards. Did the Bharatiya Jan Sangh, I'll like to point this to Mr. Mahurkar as well as the BJP spokesperson here, did the Bharatiya Jan Sangh of the 1950s ever accepted Savarkar as their own? The very fact that Veer Savarkar continued to run the Hindu Mahasabha, which continued to run parallel to the Bharatiya Jan Sangh, the very fact that the Bharatiya Jan Sangh never legitimized the activities of Savarkar ji basically goes on to say that even the Bharatiya Jan Sangh of the 1950s was not very, was not very accepting to the ideas of Mr. Savarkar. What Mr. Rahul Gandhi ji has said is a matter of history. It is a matter of record. Now, the problem is that, people who consume their history mostly from WhatsApp forward will differ. Has anyone questioned the contribution of Savarkar ji till 1910? No. Was Savarkar ji a freedom fighter till 1910? Absolutely. Savarkar ji was one of the most revered freedom fighters till 1910. But the personality of Mr. Savarkar needs to be viewed in two different contexts. The one before 1910 and the one after 1910. The fact that 1910, the only one thing that defined Mr. Savarkar
I'm talking about the present. Mayur, I'm talking about the present. Day before yesterday, Rahul Gandhi, your leader, said what he said about Savarkar, right? The day after that, hear me out, 10 seconds, Mayur Jha. The day after that, Sanjay Raut, who's a senior leader of your ally party, the Shiv Sena, comes and says Veer Savarkar is so great that he should be given the Bharat Ratna. So you have your own ally saying Savarkar needs to be given the Bharat Ratna, and your leader, Mr. Rahul Gandhi, says he was an apologist for the British. Surely something is amiss. If nothing else, these two parties have a fundamental difference of opinion when it comes to a historical figure.
Zaka, as far as the relationship between Shiv Sena and the Congress party is concerned, the relationship is based on a common minimum program. the debate on Mr. Savarkar doesn't figure as part of that common minimum program. There is a common agenda, there is a common goal towards which the NCP, the Shiv Sena and the Congress, who together form the Mahavikas Aghadi, are functioning. So leave that issue aside. There are minor differences. These differences will be addressed. The Mahavikas Aghadi is going to stay intact. Let me tell you on record here on your channel. The fact that why we are seeing this debate emerge again and again is because of the fact that the Bharat Jodo Yatra has really sized the current lot of BJP. The fact that the Bharat Jodo Yatra is getting unprecedented support state after state.
No. Mayur, as much as you would like to believe that, fact is that Mr. Gandhi started this. It is not the BJP that started this or the Shiv Sena that started this. Mr. Gandhi started this, and of course others are reacting to what he has said. Like I said, he is free to say what he wants to say. Doesn't mean that others will accept it. Okay. Let me ask Sanjay Gupta of the Shiv Sena. Sanjay ji, it's very clear that Shiv Sena and the Congress party on this issue have a fundamental difference. कि सावरकर का जो रोल था आज़ादी के struggle में, I think it's very clear that Shiv Sena and Congress do not agree on this. Do you believe that by saying what he said about Savarkar, he has undermined your Shiv Sena, यानी कि Uddhav Thackeray की Shiv Sena, and has given a reason to the Shinde Sena, because the Shinde Sena has been claiming all along कि आप लोगों ने जाके कांग्रेस के साथ हाथ मिलाया, NCP के साथ हाथ मिलाया. You have diluted Hindutva, which Shiv Sena stood for. And Rahul Gandhi has proved that right. शिंदे सेना जो अभी तक जो बोल के आ रही थी, वो सब सही निकला राहुल गांधी के इस बयान के द्वारा.
जाका चक्रवर्ती, देखिए, किसी से हाथ मिला लेने से या किसी के साथ बैठकर किसी से हाथ मिला लेने से या किसी के साथ बैठ करके खाना खा लेने से किसी के विचार नहीं बदलते. विचार जिसके जो होते हैं वो वही रहते हैं. तो कांग्रेस की अपनी अलग विचारधारा है, शिव सेना की अपनी अलग विचारधारा है. वीर सावरकर के मुद्दे पर तो हमेशा ही 2-3 साल से राहुल गांधी जी बोल रहे हैं, और 2-3 साल से जब भी राहुल गांधी जी ने बोला है तभी शिव सेना ने उनको जवाब दिया है, बल्कि उनको हिस्ट्री बताने की कोशिश भी की है. मगर वो सुनना नहीं चाहते या जानना नहीं चाहते, या उनको कोई बताता नहीं है कि वीर सावरकर को श्रीमती इंदिरा गांधी जी ने भी सम्मानित किया था, सन ऑफ इंडिया का खिताब दिया था, उनके नाम से डाक टिकट भी जारी की थी. मुझे समझ में नहीं आता कि राहुल गांधी जी कौन सी हिस्ट्री पढ़ते हैं या कौन सा किताब पढ़ते हैं, और या कोई उनको समझाता क्यों नहीं, कोई कुछ बताता क्यों नहीं कि अगर उन्होंने माफ़ी मांगी थी, माफीनामा दिया था तो यही सोच करके दिया था.
नहीं संजय जी, सिर्फ ये बताइए, साफ ये बताइए कि क्या ये एक फंडामेंटल डिफरेंस है जिसके वजह से ये अलायंस टूट भी सकती है?
बिल्कुल, इस अलायंस को टूट जाना ही बेहतर है, क्योंकि इस अलायंस किससे अलायंस करना है इस कांग्रेस से. हमने जिस कांग्रेस के खुद के नेता उसको छोड़ करके चले गए, जिसके कारण हमारी पार्टी के नेता आज हमसे रुष्ट है, ऐसी कांग्रेस के साथ अलायंस करके रखना मैं इसको बेहतर नहीं समझता. और इस विषय में जिस तरह से पार्टी में विचार किया जा रहा है, मैं हमेशा से इस बात
मयूर झा जी तो कह रहे हैं कि अलायंस को कोई खेद नहीं पहुंचेगा, कोई इशू नहीं होगा. ये तो हिस्ट्री की बात है. हम प्रेजेंट की बात करें तो कोई दिक्कत नहीं आएगी अलायंस को.
डिसीजन
ये तो उनका मानना है.
देखिए डिसीजन तो आदित्य जी और उद्धव जी ने लेना है. जो वो डिसीजन लेंगे हम उनके साथ रहेंगे. लेकिन हमारा मानना और हमारी शिवसेना के एक आदमी का मानना यही है, वो चाहते हम सब यही है कि इस कांग्रेस के गठबंधन से बाहर आया जाए, क्योंकि कांग्रेस के साथ हमारी किसी भी तरह की विचारधारा नहीं मिलती. कांग्रेस के साथ हमारा कोई भी चीज नहीं मिलती. कांग्रेस से हमारा
let me go back to Uddhav Thackeray. One of the points, I think 2 points that Mayur Jha raised. One, he says that even the Bharatiya Janata Sangh had differences on Savarkar's role in the freedom struggle. He says that for the longest time the Janata Sangh did not recognize Savarkar's role. They had fundamental difference of opinion. So please respond to that. And secondly, Uday, it's also a fact, isn't it, that Savarkar stood trial for the assassination of Mahatma Gandhi. Yes, he did get acquitted, but the fact is he stood trial.
No, again, there is falsification of history, Zaka, here. In 1978, Manohar Malgaonkar, by no means a person associated with RSS or Hindutva, the great author, he wrote a book, The Man Who Killed Gandhi. In that book, he has written how he met Digambar Badge, the approver on whose statement, Savarkar was implicated in the Gandhi murder. Badge told him in no uncertain terms that he had turned approver because of pressure from the then ruling party and ruling government, which is the Congress. And more than that, Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru. So this is complete falsification. Manohar Malgavkar by no means he can be associated with the Hindutva movement or Hindutva thought. He was an honest writer, a very celebrated writer. He writes in 1978, where he cites the approver on whose statement Savarkar was booked. And that approver tells him, look here, I did it under pressure. Now what more evidence do you need? So there is a campaign to denigrate Savarkar. The reason I will go a step further. You see, Savarkar, my book written by me and my co-author Chirayu Pandit, conclusively proves that Savarkar was the greatest symbol of India's security, national security. One. And two, we have called him the father of India's national security and diplomacy. So the whole plan is to see that Savarkar doesn't emerge as an icon of the future generation. If it happens, then those who are surviving on divided India, they'll have to close shop.
All right.
It is very clear, and because they are dependent on minority votes.
Let me play
it's all about minority
bite.
politics.
Let me play a
Vote
sound bite of Shivraj Singh Chauhan, the Madhya Pradesh Chief Minister. Remember, a large battery, an army of BJP senior leaders have been in Gujarat today campaigning in different locations. So was Shivraj Singh Chauhan. He has attacked Rahul Gandhi on this issue of Veer Savarkar, and he has said that Rahul Gandhi does not know history, he does not know what he's talking about. He's now attacked Rahul Gandhi front and center on this issue of Veer Savarkar, saying that the Congress and its leader have insulted a martyr. Now remember, the Bharat Jodo Yatra after a few days in Maharashtra will proceed to Madhya Pradesh, and then from Madhya Pradesh to pole-bound Gujarat. So this could well be Shivraj Singh Chauhan sort of laying the ground for a political attack before the Bharat Jodo Yatra enters Madhya Pradesh. But this is what he has said. Let's listen in.
कांग्रेस शहीदों का अपमान करती है। कांग्रेस की सरकार रही तो हमें यही पढ़ाया गया। देश को आजादी इंदिरा जी ने दिलाई, नेहरू जी ने दिलाई, और कोई को याद ही नहीं करते थे। कल अपमान किया है राहुल गांधी ने, स्वतंत्र वीर सावरकर का अपमान। 2-2 जन्म की सजा जिन्हें मिली थी, काला पानी की सजा जिनने काटी, देश के लिए सब कुछ लुटा दिया। वैसे स्वतंत्र वीर सावरकर का तुम अपमान करते हो राहुल गांधी, कांग्रेसियों, ये देश तुम्हें कभी माफ नहीं करेगा।
All right, let me go back to Guru Prakash Paswan. Guru Prakash Paswan, politically speaking, forget about what happened historically and what Rahul Gandhi's view is and what your views are on Veer Savarkar. Right now, political expediency demands that the Shiv Sena, the NCP and the Congress stick together because of the BMC elections. They know that they stand a chance only if they stick together, because if they split, then the Shinde faction and the BJP will wipe through the BMC. They will win the BMC elections hands down. So political expediency calls for them to stick together. So this difference about a historical figure from 100 years ago, that is something that they will sacrifice or keep in the back burner for the political expediency of the present time.
No, definitely, Zaka. And I think the argument which you are making is a politically nuanced argument. But the point is that the Congress party has now become structurally irreparable. Anything that is even remotely Hindu is a matter of hatred for the Congress party. Rahul Gandhi ji is talking about Hindu, Hindutva, Savarkar, and constantly people are reminding him, Congress spokesperson are coming on television and reminding that Indira Gandhi ji has said something, Mahatma Gandhi has said something, Shahid Bhagat Singh has said something, but Mr. Rahul Gandhi, who is adept at doing the politics of extreme, cannot take a middle path here. And this again shows the poverty of imagination of Mr. Rahul Gandhi. Anything, and let me put this across, anything which is remotely Hindu, Hinduness or Hindutva will be a matter of distaste for the Congress party. And this is clearly established even now. Mr. Rahul Gandhi has zero knowledge of history. And I congratulate the spokesperson from the Shiv Sena, who is actually having that spine to say that despite being in the alliance, Mr. Rahul Gandhi must be educated on the contributions of Veer Savarkar. Mr. Uddhav Thackeray, who has written a book on Veer Savarkar, has a lot to say.
Okay.
But unfortunately, Mr. Rahul Gandhi was constantly doing this. We still remember 2013, Mr. Rahul Gandhi tore the ordinance in front of the entire country of his own Prime Minister, Mr. Manmohan Singh. So I don't think we can expect any sort of serious discussion or any sort of contemplative discussion from Mr. Rahul Gandhi, because he has absolutely no knowledge, no understanding or no appreciation of the Indian history or the icons of Indian history. His history stops at Gandhi family. His history stops at the Congress party.
Mayur Jha, the fact is that this is the second case of defamation that Rahul Gandhi is facing in Maharashtra. Ranjit Savarkar, Savarkar's grandson, has already filed an FIR in this regard. In the first case, where he had allegedly insulted the RSS, Rahul Gandhi had said in court that he was willing to apologize. At the end of the day, isn't this embarrassing for your leader at the very least?
This is the falsification of a statement. Rahul Gandhi has never said that he is willing to apologize, and I am telling you, bad news for the BJP RSS here that Rahul Gandhi does not come from the party or the ideology of Savarkar. So don't expect a sorry from Mr. Rahul Gandhi. What he has said is factually correct. We may debate the political correctness of the issue and the debate, but there is absolutely no debate on the factual correctness of what Mr. Rahul Gandhi has said. Coming from a political, coming from a political party that Rahul Gandhi insulted a freedom fighter, it's a bit rich. The way the BJP, the right-wing ecosystem, day in and day out create memes and malified content on great freedom fighters like Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru. They saying something like this is a bit rich. So let me tell you, Zaka, Rahul Gandhi is not going to apologize.
But Mayur Jha, forget about what the BJP is saying. Your own ally, the Shiv Sena, is upset about this. Mayur, that is a reality. Your own ally, the Shiv Sena, is upset about what Rahul Gandhi has said.
What Mr. Gupta said here, I am pretty sure it is not the view of the Shiv Sena. On this issue of the role of Mr. Savarkar, I am telling you that the fundamental difference in the ideological position of the Congress and the Shiv Sena. But the coming together of Congress and Shiv Sena was not an ideological marriage, and anyone will be lying if someone says that there is an ideological marriage between Congress. It is a political understanding. It is a political understanding based on common minimum goals, based on a common minimum program. Remember the way Mr. Uddhav Thackeray was made the chief minister.
I must commend you that you have been forthright saying that it's not an ideological marriage, it's a political marriage. Whether it's a marriage of convenience, we don't know. But anyway, we'll let that be.
Zaka will be lying to
fair enough. Which is why I said I commend the fact that you've been forthright about it. Anyway, let me give Sanjay Gupta the final word. Sanjay ji, Mayur Jha जो आपके ally हैं, आपके सहयोगी पार्टी है, उनका मानना ये है कि आपको कोई अता पता नहीं है कि क्यों ये तीनों पार्टी आ चुके हैं, और ये जो आइडियोलॉजिकल जो डिफरेंस है आपके बीच में सावरकर के नाम के ऊपर, ये तो रहेगा ही। वो कह रहे हैं कि आपका जो पोजीशन है वो पार्टी की पोजीशन नहीं है। बताइए जरा।
मैं तो यही कहूँगा कि मैं भूल जाऊं तुम्हें अब यही मुनासिब है, मगर भुलाना भी चाहूं तो किस तरह भूलूं कि तुम तो फिर भी हकीकत को कोई ख्वाब नहीं।
ये संजय गुप्ता जी की निजी राय हो सकती है। इस विषय पे कमेंट करना मेरे और संजय गुप्ता जी के पे स्केल से बहुत ऊपर की बात।
इसका
40 से ज्यादा 40 विधायक हमारे इसी बात पर छोड़ करके चले गए।
Let him give the final comment.
MP छोड़ करके चले गए। देखिए हमारी पार्टी के आधे से ज्यादा विधायक, आधे से ज्यादा MP, आधे से ज्यादा विधायक, आधे से ज्यादा MP अगर आज उद्धव जी से अलग हुए हैं तो उसका कारण सिर्फ कांग्रेस है और कुछ भी नहीं है। कांग्रेस के साथ हमारी ना तो विचारधारा बनती है, ना ही कोई बात हमारी और इनसे अलग हो जाना, इनसे अलग हो जाने पर हमारी शिव सेना के एक एक शिव सैनिक को जितनी खुशी होगी ना, इस बात का मैं बयान नहीं कर सकता। ये तो जिस वक्त अनाउंस होगा तो
देखिए वो ये भी पूछ रहे हैं कि आप शिंदे फैक्शन से हैं कि उद्धव फैक्शन से हैं। जहां तक मेरी जानकारी है तो आप तो उद्धव फैक्शन से ही हैं, बट ये तो
मैं बताता हूं,
ये तो सवाल जायज है कि आप कौन सी पार्टी से हैं। बट एनीवे वी लीव इट एट दैट। थैंक यू वेरी मच।
ये मैं बताता हूं,
Sanjay Mahurkar and of course Guru Prakash Paswan for joining us. We'll have to leave it at that, completely out of time. All I'll say as we close is, well, Savarkar may be a historical figure, And there are people who may argue that he's a divisive figure, but it makes zero political sense for Rahul Gandhi or any political leader for that matter, even someone who disagrees with him, to come to his land here in Maharashtra. We're coming to you live from Mumbai. Come to this land and insult a son of the soil. That is just politically absolutely bewildering as to why someone would do that. That's a wrap. In a moment, the biggest exclusive tonight.
Good evening, hello and welcome. You're watching the biggest exclusive with me, Poonam Burde. On November 11th, the topmost court of this country set free 6 convicts serving life imprisonment for assassination of a former Prime Minister. Rajiv Gandhi and dozens others were killed in a suicide bombing back in 1991 while he was on campaign trail in Tamil Nadu. Now, the assassination was seen as an act of retaliation after he sent Indian peacekeepers to Sri Lanka in 1987, only for 1,200 men to lose their lives in battle. Now, the Tamil sentiment was running high back then and even now. That happens because, and that's evident with the kind of response that we've seen from all Dravidian parties when these convicts were released. Now, yesterday, the centre moved the top court seeking a review of last week's order. The centre said that the Supreme Court order is legally flawed. They argued that seeking the government's assistance in such a matter was paramount and the court had failed to do so. The centre alleged that principles of natural justice were breached. It's a miscarriage of justice, they said. Some very, very strong words coming in from the central government in their review petition. But take a look at all that's transpired so far.
We have been saying right from the day one that these convicts should not be released, and that is what our stand was. Whether it is BJP or the central government, we were very, very clear because it will have international ramifications. That's what we have said in our affidavit also. Who are not Indians, they are foreigners.
DMK stand has been that no person should be put to death. Late leader Kalanya says it's about changing the heart of the person and to reform them. That should be the main goal. They have become educated, they have written articles and so on and so forth. They have reformed themselves. So now there is no point why they should stay in prison beyond this.
Now, there are two sides to every coin like any other, and the same goes for this case as well. One side argues on humanitarian grounds and the other which counters with a fallout of such a judgment that came to the fore on November 11th from the Supreme Court. So let me break it down for you what the two sides of the arguments are. As far as the release of 6 convicts go, those people who are justifying this relief, they go on to cite multiple precedents of pardon to death row convicts. They say it's the right to equality. Meanwhile, on the other side, the argument is that this specific crime, the assassination of a former Prime Minister of the country, especially by those that were coming in from Sri Lanka, has global ramifications. So the messaging is also very, very important. Now, those that justify this relief, they go on to talk of reformative justice. They say that 31 years in jail is more than enough. The convicts have also been well behaved for those 31 years. That's the argument that they make. On the other side, the ones who say this is a dangerous precedent, they go on to talk of how there was a diabolical cross-border plot between India and Sri Lanka, and that cannot be ignored, and that cannot be a precedent for other cases. There are many who continue to justify that relief, especially down south in Tamil Nadu. All of the Dravidian parties have been welcoming these convicts and their release. They say that on a personal level, even the Gandhis had forgiven these convicts. Priyanka Gandhi had gone down to Tamil Nadu, met with Nalini, and she said on a personal level, I forgive you. But there are those who say that this crime was not against the Gandhi family or just the relatives of Rajiv Gandhi. He was the Prime Minister back then. So this crime was against the entire country. A democratically elected Prime Minister was targeted, was assassinated, and that cannot be forgotten. There are some who say that there needs to be resolution that is passed by a state legislature to ensure release of these convicts. Now, those who say this can lead to dangerous precedents in other case, they say that this kind of commentary that we see is nothing but a petty political fight. All that is happening is politics of vote bank that is taking precedence over national security. So those are the two sides of the coin, and I want to open this up to my panelists who join us here on this broadcast. And the question that we ask here on the biggest exclusive is that the release of these 6 convicts, is that justified or is that a dangerous precedent? Narayan Lakshman, Associate Editor of The Hindu, Swati Malik, Congress spokesperson, A. Sarvanan, spokesperson of the DMK, and Subhash Jha, a lawyer, joins me on this broadcast. And I'd like to get started with Mr. Lakshman. Where do you stand on this, sir? Do you think there is a dangerous precedent that can be set? Because like the centre says, this was about the highest office in the country, a democratically elected Prime Minister being attacked by someone from across the border. So there are global ramifications that need to be looked into.
Obviously, can you hear me?
Yes, sir, go ahead.
Yeah. So, I don't think a dangerous precedent is being set here because nothing extra constitutional has happened. And I think that is important to bear in mind. Before we talk about, things which happened, which we're questioning the highest courts of the land, we should look at whether due process was followed, constitutional norms were abided by, and a legitimate legal result was obtained. Now, I don't at all for 1 second try and say that this is a non-controversial case. There is definitely controversy here. Sentiments are very high. Obviously, a Prime Minister of a nation is assassinated by terrorists from another country. It's certainly not taken lightly, and it has had echoes through Indian and Sri Lankan politics ever since that time. But when, as you said, there is also the fact that these convicts have languished in prison for this long, the process, in a sense, is part of the punishment. I'm not saying it is undeserved. It was definitely deserved. At the lengthy incarceration coming to an end, the court has freed them. I think it is definitely important that we consider the broader politics of the situation. It is not even, as you said, the Gandhi family or the Congress that is on the front foot, but is pushing back on this judgment and calling for review. It is the BJP that is doing so, having power at the center. And let's not forget the context of the BJP trying to find a foothold and greater echoes for its own brand of saffron politics in the state of Tamil Nadu and not really making major headway so far through the standard election route. So such political gimmickry certainly benefits them. I'm not saying that their case is without merit, but you have to look at the context is my simple argument.
Right, but I would like to get in the Congress spokesperson on this as well, because even though the review has come to the fore from the central government, a BJP-run government at that, the Congress had reacted in a way there where they said that this was not acceptable when the verdict came to the fore. And Swati Malik, Congress has been categorical as far as this particular verdict goes, even though we have seen in the past the kind of messages that have come to the fore from the Gandhi family themselves as far as what happened or forgiveness to Nalini and the other accused are concerned. Where do you stand on what the centre has said in court about it having international ramifications and that this is about national security?
Poonam, while we support the centre's review petition and the grounds taken therein, I just have one question to ask the government out here. Please tell me, where was the AG when the matter was called out? The court was told the AG was travelling. So it is not true when the government says that they were not heard. They chose not to be heard. They chose to be absent from the court on the day the matter was to be argued. That is what has happened. Now, when they're seeking this review, it is nothing but an eyewash. It's the whole intent. If they wanted to, their action and their words are so different from each other. If they really wanted to oppose this, release, they should have been arguing it in the court. Right now, when the order's been passed, and of course they're all review is permissible, and we are all within their rights to seek review. But how much of it is going to even succeed is my question to the central government. Another thing, Poonam, I want to ask out here, like the Congress has been saying, Mr. Rajiv Gandhi was not just the leader of the Congress. He was the sitting Prime Minister of the country. Today, Mr. Narendra Modi is not just the leader or the head of BJP as we see him. We respect him as the Prime Minister of our country. And that is why assassination of a Prime Minister has to be taken a lot more, we have to see it across all politics. We have to remove all political color from this. And that is the reason BJP, the central government, the Prime Minister, the Home Minister, somebody should have at least made a statement in last, from 11th November till now. A week has passed and we've not heard anything from the central government except for the fact they filed this review petition yesterday, which is nothing but an eyewash, just to probably, try and give an impression that they're opposing it. That is it. But in their
so it's all for political points. It's just a brownie point situation for the BJP is what both the Congress and the other panelists also says. But I want to get in the lawyer on this panel, Mr. Jha, and I want you to respond to the argument that Swati Malik was making about the centre not being present while the hearing took place. So they can't now turn around and say that that you didn't ask us for our opinion. Now, there have been times in other cases as well where recesses have been asked for, adjournments have been asked for the unavailability of a certain lawyer. In such a case, could that have been a possibility?
Centre would be committing a blunder if they seek review of the order passed about 10 days back. The review has to be sought because try to understand what has happened in this case. There is another judgment rendered on 18th of May 2022 in the matter of AG Pararivalam. So that was the judgment which has been followed now. So if at all this review is filed, the review has to be filed in respect of the earlier judgment and not this. Because this judgment in the matter of Nalini and 2 others or 3 others follows the judgment dated 18th of May 2022. And this is something I agree with some of the panelists who have said that this is a case where the Prime Minister of country lost his life and he was assassinated. Now we will be giving an impression of we being too soft a state. In 31 long years, we have been able to convict and ultimately, now the incident is of 1991. In 1999, not only the highest court of the country, that is the Supreme Court, dismisses the SLP, but also dismisses in the month of October 1999 their review petition. So something which has happened in 1999, the time has come when we must fix responsibility on the executives. It is high time that even the Supreme Court must not take it as a mere delay and therefore let them go scot-free. No, time has come to make people who are responsible for ensuring that the judgment is followed in its letter and spirit, and those people who have been found guilty be punished, and punished by hanging them. There was otherwise, but for their not hanging, they would have, if they would have hanged on time, the sentence would not have been commuted. And then furthermore, the situation like in which we are faced today, we would not have been facing this kind of a situation at all. So ultimately, if at all a review has to be filed of the judgment also of 18th May 2022. Otherwise, filing review in this matter is not going to suffice, will be absolutely futile exercise.
Right, Mr. Saravanan, the DMK we've seen has been welcoming the release of these convicts. When Nalini was also released, we saw the Chief Minister himself meet the family, and we've seen the kind of commentary that has come to the fore from all Dravidian parties, not just the DMK. But there are many who would argue that, and even the centre is saying that this is about national security. It's not about one family and it's not about humanitarian grounds and 30 years in jail. You are setting a precedent. And if we speak of this particular judgment itself, as far as pardon goes, the fact that their sentence was commuted from death to life sentence, and then the claim of remission was actually denied by the Supreme Court at one point in time. So there have been measures that were legal recourses that were taken in the past, and this perhaps is erroneous, like the centre is also pointing out.
Yeah. Is there a BJP spokesperson in this panel?
There isn't, sir. Go ahead.
Yeah. Why? Why are they running away from this debate? Your channel is one of their favorite channels. Why have they chosen not to participate in this debate? If they think this is very important, they participate in all the debates. So it is just the BJP wants to do politics in this. We have made it very clear that this release, we are seeking this release on humanitarian grounds, because for 10 long years, they have starred at death row, and 30 years they have been inside the prison. And a similarly placed convict, Gopal Vinayak Godse, has been granted remission by the Supreme Court itself in the 1960s. So it is not without precedent. Based on all these aspects, we sought for release of these persons. The other important aspect is how the BJP is playing both hot and cold. Using the office of the governor, this resolution was sent to the assent of the governor 4 years back. The governor was sitting on this file. So the BJP wants to stall off the functioning of elected state governments using the office of the governor. On the one hand, they don't come to court. They allow the courts to pass judgment. Then looking at the backlash, they think they've done something wrong. They again come back here and file a review petition. And now they don't even come to defend this. Are they scared? What are they scared of? The very fact that they have not participated in this debate shows clearly that they are running away from this debate. They have done something wrong. They are by filing this review petition. They ought not to have done that. If it's not, none of the facts are new. All these facts are known, that someone is a foreigner, does not belong to, he's not an Indian citizen, he is languishing inside the prison. This is known for the last 30 years. So they cannot claim that as a new fact and try to ensure that file a review plea on that ground. So it is mere politicking of the BJP. They wanted, the elections are around the corner. They are thinking, because of what the Congress is claiming, they think that their vote count may impact it. That is the reason why they want to file this review plea for the sake of politics and run away from answering.
Right, we did try and contact the BJP and ask them to be a part of this discussion. I'd like to put it on record that unfortunately we haven't had a response from them as far as participating in this debate goes.
That's what I said, they will not respond because they want to run away
from
this.
Yeah, so also is this in hindsight? That's a question that many are asking, Mr. Lakshman, because the verdict came in from the Supreme Court last week on 11th of November. It's 18th today. So if there was something that they thought was legally flawed, as they have claimed in their review yesterday, should they have done this 1 week ago when the verdict came out? Is that why also the BJP faces allegations of this being nothing other than eyewash?
Yeah, definitely. I think some panelists have said this is a belated sort of half measure, and very little actual legal justification has been offered. The courts have acted based on what is the principle of natural justice. So the sense that, 31 years of improvement is a sort of punishment does prevail. There is a sense of that. But at the same time, let's also not forget that the masters of this dastardly plot are all dead. They have all been hunted down. None of them is running free. These are certainly people who are involved, if we're going back to what happened, but they are mid to low level operatives. And the game of political football has gone on far enough. I certainly am not at all saying we should take lightly the fact that a sitting Prime Minister was assassinated. That shook the nation. It continues to remain in the annals of our history in India. But we also have to get to the nitty-gritty of what is happening in the prison system, the idea of natural justice, as I said, and how long can you postpone the release or the conviction of these inmates without embarrassing yourself as a fair and balanced legal system. I think that point, as one of your panelists said, has long been crossed. So keeping all of these pictures in mind in terms of what happened back then and what has happened since then, this is a very foolhardy move is what it seems to me. And even at this stage, as you said, it's not that it happened last week. It didn't happen certainly at the time of the May 2022, the Ferrari-Wallen release time. Nothing has been referenced, and then out of the blue, this is a review petition is filed. I think that it becomes very hard not to look at the political motives that could be underlying it.
Well, Mr. Jha, I want you to have the last word on this debate because legally speaking, that's where we stand right now. A review has been filed, not to preempt what would come out of the Supreme Court as far as this case goes. But what can we expect for it to further happen? Like, what is the expectation anyone would have of where this review petition is even going to go? I believe we've lost that connection with Mr. Jha, but all our other panelists continue to be with us. And I would like to get the DMK spokesperson A. Saravanan in. As we wind up this debate, like I was saying, think this petition actually goes anywhere? Is there any outcome that is expected out of this, or like you say, it is just for votes and pandering by the BJP, and they also perhaps know nothing is going to come out of it?
Yeah, see, we know how Supreme Court deals with review petitions. Most of them, probably 99% of the review petitions are summarily rejected. Probably this also will have the same fate, but until the elections, they will want to project a picture as though so BJP is against, BJP is strong on everything, BJP is this, BJP is that. We have seen how they have released the rape convicts in the Bilkis Banu's case. And no review petition has been filed by any of the union government or the Gujarat government. In fact, the union government has released Bilkis Banu's convicts. This is just after the Prime Minister spoke about women empowerment and safety of women. This is the double standard. Now the BJP is standing exposed thoroughly by its double standards. So people will realize this, and these kind of maneuvers just ahead of elections is not going to cut ties with the people.
Right, we did hope that the BJP would be here to take those questions and answer them for you, but I thank my panelists here on this broadcast. We're running out of time. The controversy there continues. Before now, we're shifting focus. Moving on now to a historic moment in India's space history. It was a big boost as a private rocket Vikram S was successfully taken off under the mission Prarambh. The liftoff took place at about 11:30 a.m. this morning from Sriharikota. The startup company Skyroot Aerospace designed the rocket and named it Vikram S, befitting tribute to the father of the country's space program, Vikram Sarabhai.
It is indeed a new beginning, a new dawn, and shall I say, very appropriately as our team members have put it, a new Prarambh in the journey of India's space program. And very many thanks to Honorable Prime Minister Modi ji, who has made this effort possible by opening up the space sector to public-private participation. It's also a major step forward to India developing its own space ecosystem and emerging as a frontline nation in the community of world nations.
So, CEO and co-founder of Skyroot, Pawar Kumar Chandana, now joins us on this broadcast live, and he really is the brains behind all that we saw today, all that went up in 300 seconds, something that the country is entirely proud of. And congratulations to you, Pawan. Thank you so much for speaking with us here on CNN News 18. Like I said, you've created history in those 300 seconds, the 5 minutes when all of us were glued to our seats, watching and praying for success for you, for the entire country. What was going on in your mind for those 5 minutes?
Yeah, first of all, the heart was beating very fast for the first 10 seconds of countdown, the last 10 seconds of countdown just before the launch. So that was like, it's a real experience, just to see the vehicle lift off, from the launch pad. And from then on, I think we followed the trajectory, and it has been a wonderful, flight overall. And we rejoiced, successful first flight in the maiden attempt, which is a historic, landmark for the country as well.
Absolutely, and a historic landmark for you as well, because your startup is just 4 years old and you've already made the country proud. You've set a benchmark as far as India's space journey is concerned. Did you actually imagine this would be your journey when you founded the company just in 2018?
Absolutely. In fact, like I thought, the policy would take a much longer time to, get ironed out. And in fact, like I thought, that would be the major challenge when we started off in 2018. But it now happens that policy is, all sorted out, and the tech has been a major challenge compared to the, the policy part. So it's been like completely different, unexpected, but a wonderful journey overall.
Right. Right, but you say that, you yourself anticipated that the policy would take much longer, and yet you decided to launch your get in perspective your company in 2018. At that time, there were absolutely no private players in India. The sector was only opened up in 2020. So what is it that actually made you take that leap of faith? Did you think that the policy was in the offing, or were you just hoping that that would be the case?
Yeah, so in fact, like this is always a chicken and egg problem. So unless there is, good number of players, there will not be a regulatory framework. And unless there is a regulatory framework, you'll not find many people wanting to get into it. So, so what we thought is like, we'll take that big initiative. In fact, we had the confidence that if we, get to that threshold, limit where we develop really good tech, I think we thought that, the government would definitely consider and open up the sector to private players. And then we took that leap of faith in 2018. And also, like, at that time, we found the opportunity as being one of the earliest players to get into this business, which also is like, very important for a private company. So we clutched that opportunity early on, which really paid off right now, which we're very quickly were able to build some really extraordinary tech and, get to launch and also succeed in the first flight, which is also very rare, for a rocket company.
Absolutely. So you had the first movers advantage, as they say. And if I'm not mistaken, we've been talking about technology. You said the tech part was also something that was difficult, not just the policy bit. But from what I know, and if I'm not mistaken, your technology and innovation is actually bringing down these launch costs by about 50% when you compare it to other global players. So can you elaborate on that for our viewers? How did you actually manage to achieve that? What went on behind that?
Yeah, it's not only, it basically has two factors. One is the tech, of course, and the other is also like, the advantages of operating, a space company out of India. So where like we have a definitely advantage, a similar advantage to what we have in IT. So in fact, like we would say, a good portion of it comes from the tech, and also the remaining portion of it comes from being a very cost-efficient nation, to build a space company from.
Absolutely. And ISRO is also known for being a cost-effective space agency as compared to NASA or any of its counterparts. And that really trickles on into private players, I guess, as well. And it's not just you. Now, just 2 years after the sector was actually opened up to private players, we have over 100 now. All of them are eyeing to work with the ISRO, are already doing so. Do you think that somewhere we are headed towards an end of ISRO's monopoly, so to say, because that's all that we know as far as the space sector goes?
And so in fact, like now the government has announced reforms in 2020, where like any private player in the country, can build any kind of space product and service, and related regulatory permissions would be taken care by the government. And government is going to enable, authorize, and even promote the private players in this field. So once the reforms have come, there itself there is a change in the mindset that ISRO would be more like an enabler for the private agencies and not a competitor. So basically, there is no rise of competition or any other sort of arrangement with ISRO, because it's more like an enabler for the entire private ecosystem is what the reforms want.
Right. So they're going to play the role of a mentor, so to say, and not really, there won't be really public-private competition that we see. One last question before I let you go, Pawan. What is it going to be next for you personally and for Skyroot as well? Is it time for celebrations, and are you going to take a break after today's historic achievement, or have you already begun working on your next project?
We are, in fact, reviewing the data from the flight, which is also very, very important. The data looks great, but of course, we have to conclude on the, what's good for the flight and, what next. So I think we'll take a quick, probably a day or two break because it's a weekend. And in fact, our crew has been working a day and night at the launch pad and the integration facilities for the last 1 week. So we really, really need a break. But of course, because the success is really, really wonderful feeling to have. And then this break would really get us recharged soon in a couple of days.
Absolutely. Congratulations to you and your team for not only this successful launch, but also for making the entire country proud with your achievement. And thank you so much for taking out the time and speaking with us, Pawan, here. With that, it's a wrap from me on this edition. But news and updates continue on CNN News 18. Don't go anywhere.